Good morning. So this morning I want to read Flat Stanley and the Firehouse. And I would like to thank HarperCollins for giving us permission to read their books online. Now Stanley Lamchop lived with his mother, his father, and his little brother Arthur. And Stanley was 4 feet tall and about a foot wide and half an inch thick. He had been really flat since a bulletin board fell on him. Now, Stanley's family found it handy having a flat boy at home, and Stanley didn't mind helping out. Stanley held tools for his father while Mr. Lamchop repaired the car. Stanley helped Arthur practice his backflips, and Stanley gave Mrs. Lamchop a perfect place to roll out pie crusts, except when he felt ticklish. Now, Stanley made a good stencil, too. Hold still, said Arthur. Stanley held his breath, and Arthur traced him carefully. Children all over the city were entering a poster contest for Fire Safety Month. I hope we win the trip to the firehouse, said Arthur. Me too, said Stanley. I've always wanted to slide down the pole. The next Monday, a letter arrived. Hey, guess what? Shouted Arthur. Hay is for horses, Mrs. Lamchop said. Try to remember that, dear. Sorry, said Arthur. Guess what? Our poster won the contest, and we're going to the firehouse on Saturday. Mrs. Lamchop clapped. I knew you boys had my talent for art, she said proudly. Stanley and Arthur practiced fire drills all week long. Arthur crawled around the house on his hands and knees, and Stanley did the stop, drop, and roll, mostly the roll. And at last, Saturday came. The Lamchops drove to the firehouse. Welcome, bellowed Chief Abbott. A puppy bounced at his feet. Arf, 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 arf. Don't mind Spark, said the chief. He is still in training. Now, Chief Abbott led the Lamchops through the firehouse kitchen. We firefighters cook up some tasty meals, he said. Mr. Lamchop got out his camera. He took a picture of a pot of chili. Everyone went to the bunk room. Very nice, said Mrs. Lamchop. Can I see the truck, said Arthur. Of course, said Chief Abbott. He led everyone down to the garage, and Stanley was disappointed. He had wanted to get there by pole. Boots and pants lay on the floor. Oh my, said Mrs. Lamchop. I could tidy up if you'd like. Chief Abbott laughed. We leave these out so we can jump into them in an emergency, he said. Neat, said Stanley. Chief Abbott pointed to the ladder truck. Climb up if you'd like. Wow, said Arthur. The boys scrambled onto the truck. Spark was right behind them. Suddenly, the alarm bell rang. Chief, code 9 on Oak Street, called a firefighter. The chief turned to the Lamchops. Would you folks like to come along on a rescue? A rescue? Will it be safe? Asked Mr. Lamchop. You bet, said Chief Abbott. Code 9 means a cat is up a tree. Probably Furball again. Mr. Lamchop looked at his wife. She gave a little nod. Yes, yelled Stanley and Arthur. Stanley turned on the sirens. Arthur, hit the lights, shouted Chief Abbott. My goodness, is that necessary? Asked Mrs. Lamchop. No, said Chief Abbott, it's just more fun this way. So the truck raced out of the station. Soon it pulled up to a tall tree, and a tiny cat was shivered at the top. She's pretty high up this time, said Chief Abbott. Spark panted at the chief's feet. All right, let's get her down. 2 firefighters raised the ladder, and the Lamchops moved out of the way. Chief Abbott climbed until Furball was just a few feet away. Good kitty, he said, stretching out his hands. Come here, Furball. Now, Spark, he started to bark. Arf, arf, arf. For a second, Furball froze. Then she jumped the other way. Furball, cried Chief Abbott. He was too late. Furball was heading for the ground. The Lamchops looked up. Their mouths were open in surprise. What do you think is going to happen? Will someone catch this kitty? All at once, Stanley threw himself on the grass. Grab my hands, he told his mother. Mrs. Lamchop grabbed his hands. Grab my feet, he told Arthur. But Arthur didn't move. Hey, shouted Mrs. Lamchop at the top of her lungs. Grab his feet. Arthur blinked. He grabbed Stanley's feet. Stretch, cried Stanley. Arthur and Mrs. Lamchop stretched Stanley between them, and they're not a second too soon. Boing, meow. fur ball bounced on Stanley's belly, then landed safely on the ground, and the firefighters started clapping. Arthur and Mrs. Lambchop stood Stanley back up. Arthur looked at his mother. "Hay's for horses," he said. "Remember?" Mrs. Lambchop grinned. "Good work, Lambchop," said Chief Abbott, racing over. "How can we ever thank you?" "Well," said Stanley, "there is one thing." Y'all remember what he wanted to do?